It's been 4.5 months since Reverend Dr. Deas Clark became the permanent pastor of Mother Emanuel AME Church after the tragedy on June 17th. In this special edition of Quintin's Post-Ups, I speak exclusively with her one-on-one. So here we sit inside Mother Emanuel AME Church, a church you've actually known for a long time, but you became pastor 4.5 months ago. And I'm wondering, what is it like to be Reverend Dr. Deas Clark?
It's a humbling opportunity to serve the Lord and His people.
Yes, indeed. Well, complete these sentences for me. The Catholic Diocese of Charleston is offering space for more of the memorial is.
It's a wonderful opportunity to build relationships, to foster a relationship with people of various walks of life. I consider it to be an opportunity for which we're honored, blessed, and I think God will be glorified, that people will see the unity that came about of a situation where Mr. Roof intended evil, but God has brought good.
That's right. Quintin Pinckney receiving a doctorate degree in theology posthumously on Monday was
a fitting tribute, and I believe it was a fitting tribute.
Yes, ma'am. Deas Clark Day in the city of Sumter was.
It was an awesome experience. It gave me an opportunity to spend time with people I've spent over 6 years with, and for them to honor me, it caused me to realize how blessed I really am.
Yeah.
And having that opportunity to serve that community was an awesome responsibility and blessing.
Let me take you down memory lane to Saturday, January 23rd, when Bishop Norris actually appointed you as pastor. I'm wondering, where were you emotionally when that took place?
I was surprised. Even though we had had a previous conversation about the possibilities, the reality of the moment was something that was so different.
Mm. Yeah. And from my understanding, it took you, you have actually had 24 hours to get ready for your first sermon. Tell me, where were your heart and mind at that time?
Actually, it was less than 24 hours. And so it was mixed emotions. Mm. You know, clearing out the office for which I had spent, as I said, 6 years. Yeah. Saying goodbye to people, but yet being prepared to embrace a whole nother congregation. And so it was an array of emotions.
Let me fast forward to the next day, Sunday, January 25th. You said the following to Live 5 News, quote, "I felt the love. I felt a sense of welcoming. I felt a sense of inclusion and jubilation. I really did." After you felt the love, the welcome, the jubilation, and inclusion, what did you tell yourself about the members of Mother Emanuel?
That they were a body of hungry,
yes,
hurting individuals, and it was my hope and my desire that I would minister the goodness of God, the grace of God, the mercy of God, the Word of God, in a manner that would feed them and foster healing for them.
Speaking of which, in your first sermon you said the following, quote, "We have to have hope in God." So what are you hoping from God as far as Charleston and Mother Emanuel?
I'm hoping that which Mr. Roof had intended to cause a race war, I'm hoping that it will cause us to examine ourselves, to see where we are as individuals, as a race, as a nation, as people of the world, and to realize that the world was made for each of us and all of us, and that we could share this space together in harmony.
Yes, indeed. Later you told Channel 4, quote, "In my heart, I just felt that it was the right word. I did not want to dwell too heavily on the past, but I wanted to embrace the reality of the present and the future. Hope." I'm wondering, when did you realize hope was the ideal sermon for you?
After such a traumatic situation, what else is there but hope?
Yeah.
That the God I love, the God I serve,
yes,
that He will bring me through this. And so hope is the word that we must hold on to. In the black tradition, we dwell heavily on hope. But we're a multicultural church who seeks to bless everyone. And so the word hope is universal. That's really what I'm saying.
Yes. And you also said this too. I agonized over it and had several rewrites. And I edited several times. And I think I got some ink on my hand. But hey, thank God I made it through the first day. So talk to me about the next day, the second day on the job. Because I'm sure you're getting calls and, interview requests and emails and whatnot. What was that day like for you?
It was an experience I'm not sure that I can articulate at this time, but it was the start for me, and I believe the congregation, to a new day,
Yes.
a journey into tomorrow that would take us away from the pains of yesterday.
And going back to the sermon, you actually said that you didn't want to dwell too heavily on the past, but you want to embrace the reality of the present and the future. And I'm curious, how will you balance the past and the future as pastor?
Well, while the past is reality, the future and the hope for the future is a greater reality. And so if we can look forward and expect God to do great and mighty things,
Sure.
I'm a firm believer that He will.
Yes, indeed. And you also said this too, I really do need your prayers, that I will focus on the needs of the people and then the questions of society. And I'm wondering, what is the focus on the people, and what question do you have right now for society?
Well, society has been a source of healing to this congregation in the ways that they have sent cards, letters, and ministered to us from afar. But that, even though they're from afar, we felt it up close and personal. And I'm hoping that the congregation will continue to draw from them as a well of water, receiving a refreshing look for hope for tomorrow, as well as receiving help for today.
Describe to me the following one word, Mount Pisgah AME Church. I probably said it wrong.
No, you did.
Oh.
Mount Pisgah AME Church
Okay.
was an awesome experience where I got to use my gifts and graces.
Yes.
And I'm grateful to God for that.
Arda.
Awanda is a word most people cannot pronounce, but you did a great job.
Thank you.
Awanda is a place where I started, where I grew up.
Yes.
It has fond memories for me,
Yeah.
and it's a place I never plan to forget.
Wow. Betty Deas Clark, not the pastor, but Betty Deas Clark, the person.
Betty Deas Clark, the person, is in love with life,
Yes.
in love with Jesus,
Yes.
and in love with the parishioners of Mother Emanuel.
And speaking of which, I know this is a little off topic, but I actually interviewed Kyle Milton, Dr. Milton, a couple of months ago, and he talked about you and him actually going to seminar schools together. And I'm wondering, what's your relationship like with him right now?
We both pastor in the South Carolina Conference.
Right.
I think he's young, he's innovative, I think he's bright. I think he brings a lot to the table for ministry.
Yes. One word to describe God.
Awesome.
One last question for you, Dr. Betty Deas Clark. You said this, I believe, in your first sermon back in January, but you said this quote, God use me. God be with me. Please don't leave me. So as we sit here right now, Reverend Clark, what do you want to see in your future from God?
I want to see that I'm pleasing in His sight.
Yes.
I want to see that He's okay with the way I'm leading this congregation, the way I'm living my life. I want to see God in everything I do. I want to hear God in everything I say.
Sure.
And I want people, when they meet me, to feel the love of God flowing from me to them, that they may do the same thing.
Well, I felt it when I first met you in January. I always brag about you too, so
Wow.
you're a great lady.
Wow.
You're a great lady.
Thank you for that.
Anytime.
Okay.
And thank you for this interview, by the way, Dr. Betty Deas Clark. I appreciate this.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.